Okay, first some introductions. My mom, Jenny, took this picture. That's my dad, Frank, in the middle. And on his left, my sisters, Mary Catherine, Judith Ann, Teresa Marie, John Patrick sitting on his lap, and Kevin Michaels on his right. And in the pale blue windbreaker, Susan Diane, me. I loved growing up in a big family.
And my mum is black from Zimbabwe. Even the idea of us as a family was challenging to most people. But nature had its wicked way and brown babies were born. But from about the age of 5, I was aware that I didn't fit.
And so I had to do the thing nobody wants to do. I had to call my mom and be like, Mom, I know I'm an adult, but I don't have any money. Do you mind if I come stay at home till I get back on my feet? She said, sure. She had a mobile home in Clayton, North Carolina. I went.
I know my mom just thought she was getting a good deal on a minivan, but what she was actually doing was giving me permission to defy expectations and to show up confidently in my skill no matter who doubts me.
Because somebody told me to do it, like my teacher or my mom. I want to know the reason why I'm doing something. And so in this video today, we're going to find out why we speak English. I don't mean, why you're learning English for personal reasons. I want to know, why is English a global language? Why is English the language of aviation, the sea, an official language of the United Nations, and many other international organizations? Why is English a global language in technology, scientific research, entertainment like music and movies? Why is English everywhere? Why is English so popular?
Just pouring love on my mom today. For the first time in my life, when I went to leave that lunch, I bent down, I embraced my mom, and I said, I love you, Mom. As I tried to leave, she clung on to me, and she pulled me close, and she whispered in my ear, I love you too, honey. And he comes home, and he embraces my mom, and he just cries. And I remember feeling shocked and unnerved. It was the first time I'd seen my dad cry like this isn't, and I remember thinking, well, this isn't what men are supposed to do. And then
and we were at the cash register, and my mom was buying me yet the latest sneakers and the latest outfit. And I looked up at her and I said, Mom, we're rich, right? And she looked down at me like only a black woman could. And she didn't say yes or no. She just gave me a little grin. And it wouldn't be until years later, when I was in college and my brother was in college, that we learned that my mom had filed for bankruptcy.
I was happy to be social distancing with my mom. And she was able to lose some weight, even though she sometimes complained that I was acting like the food police.
Right, like when I was little, my mom loved Robitussin. She would give me it. You got a cold, Robitussin, flu, Robitussin, right? Like allergies.
My mom has been talking to me a lot about coping.
And this one was taken by my mom back home in Hawaii, which is a double halo rainbow.
Was a problem. Even then, the first doctor my mom took me to told her I couldn't have ADHD because I had done well in elementary school. Thankfully, my mom told that doctor, thanks for your opinion, I'd like to see a specialist. And I was diagnosed with ADHD. And thankfully, she was willing to try stimulant medication to see if it helped, which it.
And then 3 years after that, I lost my mom. So I lost half of my immediate family members before my 30th birthday.
My mom doesn't really understand what I have. She doesn't understand that it isn't my choice.
I told my mom. She either didn't believe me or it was much too much for her to take. And so I started to escape. I started to be somewhere else.
Involvement in the church, and my mom also assisting with marriage counseling. And that's something that I never really factored into something that could happen to me. But as
wasn't making any efforts of changing that. They always told my mom I should probably get help or speak to someone because that's not normal of a child in the 2nd grade or 3rd grade. Until I went to my mom at the end of 3rd grade and I told her I want to put on the hijab.
I was previous in a flood of tears with my mum in my sitting room. They just seen this guy yet again living this idyllic life. So as I did, I went back into the dressing room and I put my award back into the bag.
My dad is a lawyer, my mom stayed home to raise 3 kids, and I was expected to take the traditional path. And I went to
My mom shot her one of the scariest glares I'd ever seen her make.
Right? And my mom was like, yo, quit taking cans of food out of our pantry. We are the poor.
He approached us, I just kind of looked at him and looked at my mom, and he got about 4 feet away from me.
It was like she was the leader of creativity for like my mom and my mom's mom. But, you know, she's, it doesn't really resonate with today's consumer. Like the stuff.
My mom and I made this deal. I was allowed to take 3 mental health rest days every semester as long as I continued to do well in school. This was because I started my mental health journey when I was only 6 years old.
Zones. And I think of my mom and that seed of possibility that she planted in me.
I was 18 when my dad died, and then 20 when my mom died.
Not only has Pablo been talking publicly for the first time about being an orphan, but together we started a live storytelling series we're calling Talk RX, and it's become a really popular place for his peers to share their most vulnerable and powerful thoughts and feelings.
Stop, and then I walked home after my mom left for work and used her email to let the school know that I was sick, and I deleted their reply, which is horrible, but it was the only time I've ever impersonated someone, and I want to pretend that makes it better.
My mom made the decision at 20 years old to basically walk home from an abortion clinic.
It was, my mom used to bring these records home that she'd pick up at the grocery store.
I wanted to go to a birthday party, but my mom had to take William to the emergency room, so I didn't get to go to this birthday party.
So much good stuff that my mom has
I'm
tried
gonna
to
send your
share
mom
with
a
me.
copy of the book.
Yeah, she'll love it. She'll absolutely love it. So let's talk about honoring our fear as a guide back to love. What does that mean in practical terms? Can you give us an example?
Yeah, this is something that came up towards the end of the book as I was writing, and I felt really called to not wrap the book up by saying, okay, now you're fixed, like everything's good, right?
You know, one of the things that my mom taught me when I was just about your age is that I could talk with God anytime I wanted to. You know, she said I had this direct line to God and I could ask questions and I'd always get an answer back. What I'd have to do is just listen to that still small voice inside, and that's how I'd hear my answer.